Welcome back, everybody, to Ultimate CNFT. Mike, aka Mr. Ultimate, right here with you. And today, I'm very excited to be talking with both of the co-founders for Keyboard Warrior Internet Cafe. We've got Daniel, which is DTonks5 down here at the bottom of your screen, and Jedson. Gentlemen, how are you doing? Welcome to the program.
Hey,
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for the invite.
Oh, listen, I'm very excited about this for a number of reasons. Daniel, we've had several conversations. Jedson, this is the first time I've gotten to meet you. So, a lot of the people within my own community have been very excited. The news and the rumors of this project are seeming to spread throughout the CNFT space. So, when I start seeing people talking about a project before I even get a chance to bring it to them, that makes me very excited. And that means that things are starting to work really well within your project. You're gaining traction. I know the first time I spoke with you, Daniel, was whose Twitter space was that? I forget. I think it Boss Space?
That was with the Boss Space with Crypto Gonzo.
That's right. And as soon as I heard you talk, a little backstory about how we got here, Ultimate CNFT fam, I heard Daniel talking about his project. And I just, my ears are tuned to these kinds of things. And I heard all this passion coming out of this gentleman. And I started, realizing and wrapping my mind around what this project is and where they're going and what they're bringing to the CNFT space. And I was like, I actually reached out to you. So many projects reach out to me. And I thought, this is worth, reaching out and saying, hey, I've got to get you guys on here. So thank you both for being here for the founder interview. This is my favorite thing to do on Ultimate CNFT, my favorite thing to present. So listen, I'm going to let you introduce your project. Tell me about how, you got to where you're at right now and all of the things that you've got coming forward and just, hey, fire away.
Awesome. Appreciate that. Look, obviously really, really happy that you gave us the chance and the platform to be able to share our project. It has been a wild few weeks. I think that when we spoke, which was only 2 weeks ago, we were only getting to the point of, I think we'd only just got to 3,000 followers on Discord and we've just cracked 5,000 supporters on Discord literally a couple of days ago. So the momentum is building pretty quick. It's great to see what the feedback that we're getting is what we always envisioned. The project's been developing since February, so it's one of those things. We've been working on it for so long, and don't get us wrong, there was times where there's 3 co-founders, so myself, Jedson, and Jess Radiatis, and there was times where we're thinking, are we just so biased about our project and how good it's going to be? Because we hadn't even launched yet, and and we were so excited, and we're going, are we just crazy? Are other people going to see what we see? So it's it's so humbling now to we launched officially, would have been close to sort of 10 weeks ago now, and just seeing the community and how active and how passionate they are, it resonates to us and the brand and what we're trying to be about. So look, it's just, again, we're 3 weeks away from mint, and we are exactly where we thought we were going to be. But don't get me wrong, there was a lot of naivety with not knowing how a project's going to turn out, and a lot of naivety with never building a CNFT or any project or any NFT project before. So it's great just to get the accolades and the feedback from a lot of great people and a lot of influencers within this space. So without further ado, I'll give everyone a bit of a high level sort of overview of Keyboard Warriors Internet Cafe. And I think we just need to start off just with and give everyone a bit of a snippet into the storyline and how the project sort of unfolds. So the storyline is we've got one of our characters, which is Bitmap, who created the internet in 1983, and he created the internet because he wanted to create this space where he could connect people from all over the world, and he wanted to build these internet cafes, these places where they can be the ultimate sort of hangout, where he can get like-minded people in one place. It's a safe place for anyone to come in, and you could do all the things that you love to do. If it's to socialize, if it's to play games, if it's to check out art, if it's to buy art, if it's to, if it's to find and create. He wanted to create this really unique sort of place where like-minded people can be around. So that was how the Keyboard Warriors Internet Cafe came about. But what happened in the background, the internet trolls were watching. They were watching what was happening, and they saw the internet as a way to mass manipulate billions of people, use technology for power, for money, and they then
so kind of like a reflection of real life.
Yes.
look, and it's so funny. Like, and as we go down the layers, you start unpeeling the onions, you peel back the onions. You start seeing all these intricacies and how it sort of, the experience that we share in real life and how it connects with our project. So you're right? And then, look, the internet trolls then locked away a lot of the keyboard warriors into the dark web, and they've been in the dark web for a long time. The internet trolls have now taken over the internet. They've obviously badmouthed the keyboard warriors, because the keyboard warriors name is now people that that don't make people sound great. They belittle people. They jump on the computer and they're not super positive, and that's internet trolls have tarnished their reputation. So
again, a reflection of real life.
and then it's the year is now 2222, which you can obviously now see, and it's the last remaining warriors have transcended Earth and formed their own online society. So what that means is that they've gone back to the internet cafes. The internet cafes look a little bit ran down. That they've got like-minded people to be able to come back with them. They're restocking. They're re-communicating to get ready for the ultimate battle against the internet trolls. So that's our storyline of the project, and how the keyboard warriors and how the internet cafe was all going to play a pretty intricate part into the project. So I'm probably just going to go straight into and show everyone a little bit more and explain a little bit more about the artwork. So as you you come through, and let me know if you can't see what I'm showing, by the way.
You're looking good. We're good.
Okay, perfect, awesome. So as you can see, if you look at the artwork, the colors is a throwback to nostalgic things that people would have experienced in the 80s and 90s. The reason why, if you look at the old Mac heads and all the technology looks very bulky, is because, well, that was what people would have experienced in the 80s and the 90s. So the deeper you look into the artwork, the more you start to see things that you relate to. And it was so funny. Like, we had some people just literally yesterday just looking at it going, oh wow, that's like a Power Glove. Oh wow, that's a Mac computer. Oh wow, that's a Care Bear face. Oh wow, that's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Oh wow, there's a throwback.
Oh my goodness, that's huge for me, because I was a child of the 80s and the 90s. So I mean, I'm looking at this already and I'm just going, wow, like I didn't even realize how many of these things, like even down to the Nintendo Power Glove. That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty amazing.
And look, it's every conversation we have is that the deeper people go into it, like the more they become a fan, because it's like it's everything that we've experienced especially around the nostalgia aspect in those early sort of 80s and 90s, and all the things that we experienced crossed with the storyline and the things that we experience. And look, I feel like a lot of people have experienced a version of online bullying and gone through mental health challenges. And a lot of people, we said it very early on, is that the reason why we took on the Keyboard Warrior name is that we took it on because we just saw it as an opportunity to actually really uplift a whole community within the CNFT space and actually have some real positive vibes and create this really unique, safe space for people to be able to feel like, I guess, like at home, right? Like when they feel the most comfortable. And that's why we took on that name, and we're using that name and using this platform as an opportunity to actually better prepare people for what's to come, and also actually uplift people and be a good influence. And I'm sure as a YouTuber, you probably would have experienced a whole bunch of not positive stuff being thrown at you, right? Like by putting yourself out there. And I just think it's a bit of a shame. Like, yeah,
it happens. I've often said, hey, look, I actually call people, keyboard warriors, in response to, like, it's so easy to just type your your mind without a filter, because there's no accountability, on the other side of a keyboard. But I like that you're taking that kind of a saying, which has been around for a long time. I didn't coin that phrase. You're taking something like that and you're turning it into something positive. And you're bringing it to the CNFT space, which is what excites me the most, because obviously that's what, I focus on centrally in is the CNFT space. And so, as we were saying a little bit earlier, the momentum that you're already starting to gain, like you said, you went from 3K to 5K pretty quickly. You start to see those kinds of things add up. And it sounds to me like you're not crazy. The answer to your question for both of you is you're not crazy. You have a dream and you have a vision, and it's like everybody else is starting to see it. And I think that this is just scratching the surface. This is one of those projects that I think literally is going to take the CNFT space by storm. And we're literally just getting started, not with just project and this interview, but the trajectory of where you're on and the friends that you're making across this journey is going to be incredible. And we're along for the ride. The Ultimate CNFT fam is definitely along for the ride, and I think that you guys are putting everything you have into this. We're going to talk about the art here in a minute and all the great stuff going on, but from what you're sharing so far, from the nostalgia point, from the whole storyline, it really fits into exactly what an NFT project should be. Any elaborations on any of those kinds of things?
Yeah, 100%. Look, and really appreciate the kind words. And like looking back to the collection, so the collection is 8,888. They will be a combination where majority of them will be keyboard warriors. There will be some internet trolls in the collection, and we also have what we call berserkers and brainwash, which are minions of the internet trolls in the collection as well. So you're going to see a whole bunch of really good guys, and there's going to be some, the main antagonists are going to be in the collection too, only at a very small amount. But again, we're obviously introducing a whole bunch of different art. But I think I should talk a little bit about the artist, because he's done an absolutely mind-blowing job with putting these traits and designing this project.
You've got a couple traits, right? At least a few.
Yeah.
Look, like we've told everyone 600, but like, look, the artist every day is like throwing extra traits in there, and we're like, we are so close to Min, and he is such a incredible creative, and he just wants to do something that has never been done before. So, a bit about the artist: he's a commercial street artist. He is a self-proclaimed nerd. Jess Rye, and he has done some really, really cool stuff. So he's got his own this is some of his artwork that he's showcasing on his own website. So you can either just jump onto his website. If you just type in jessrye.com, I think it might be .com or .com.au, it comes straight up. If you type that into Instagram, you'll be able to see all his art where he's a showcase. So those
links, by the way, you guys, will be in here below for everything you need. So whatever you guys send me, I will add those links to the description so people can look at everything that they could, whether it's your artist work or just beyond that. So, whatever you give me goes straight to the people. So y'all, if you want to check some of this out, make sure you click those links.
Yeah, perfect. Awesome. And look, he's done lots of amazing stuff with Converse. You could see here with that galah, that is all shoes that he's put together. Like in that galah. Yeah, with a little bit of obviously street art, a bit of paint. So that was a incredible collaboration he has with Converse. He's able to design that for them. He actually also painted one of our keyboard warriors in Converse's brand new store in Melbourne, in Chadstone. So I thought that was a pretty cool sort of throwback to the keyboard warriors.
That's actually pretty amazing. I mean, Converse is not just some, under the table, wannabe name brand. We're talking about Converse here. I see Adidas on there as well. So, these ties with some real world, life businesses, that's actually pretty profound if you ask me.
Yeah, the artist is incredible. He's got over 27,000 followers on Instagram. He has his own art gallery in Brunswick, which is I guess a bit of an art part in Melbourne. He has his own studio, and when me and Jed walked into the studio, we were mind blown, and you sort of start seeing how his mind works. He has thousands of nostalgic references inside his studio. It is mind blowing. You can see how this inspiration behind it, and we've had a video we posted onto Instagram, and it just shows he's got Star Wars collections. He's got He-Man. He's got Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat,
Oh
Pinball
my
Machine.
God, you're killing me, bro.
It is
everything
like,
I love.
look, it is incredible. Pokemon, like you name it, he has it, and they're like he's literally got these figurines and these artwork designs that by I think they're the hundreds in his studio. So
Wow.
It is the ultimate sort of nostalgic fantasy for anyone that's come through that area and relates to that. And he's obviously a big sort of comic book fan as well. So there's a lot of throwback to Marvel, DC, superheroes, whatnot. So a lot of things people be able to relate to. But I think the most impressive sort of art sort of piece that he's put together is the one that he did with Dell. And obviously everyone, like, I think I'm actually, my computer is Dell. So they have this vivid light festival in Sydney, and it's on the Opera House, where they actually put like different lights on the Opera House. It's incredible. They do it every year, and he got to build this like installation inside like a container, like a shipping container. And if you walked inside, it was like this 3D immersive experience where he did this collab with Dell and Vivid, and able to. He talks about now in ADHD, and he's very open to talk about. He's someone that suffers lots of different, he's got ADHD. He suffers mental health. He's very open about it. It's not something that he wouldn't mind me saying. And he has this incredible immersive experience, and he just talks about it a lot. Like talks about, he uses the ADHD as his superpower, right? Like he uses it as what enables him to create this incredible stuff. And he talks about his challenging times, is able to sort of to use the challenge times he goes through and to really be able to put it into his artwork. So again, he's absolutely massive. It's probably a big reason why we talk about keyboard warriors love mental health. I know that when we very first launched the project, a lot of people sort of didn't understand sort of why we wanted to to throw back and throw portion of our funds into sort of mental health. And I think we sort of there's a few sort of online bullying charities that we want to support and throw some sort of ADA funds to, because I think if we're going to take on a name like Keyboard Warriors, we would obviously want to be able to show that we're looking to empower the wider community. So that's a bit about the artwork, a bit about the first part of our project, which is the internet cafe. The Keyboard Warriors. I think probably the next part I can probably talk a little bit about the internet cafe, but I'll let that. This is where Jedson shines. He does a lot of conversations around this part. So look, I've talked a bit about the Keyboard Warriors and talked a bit about the traits. I think the one thing before I flip it over to Jedson, the one thing you're going to see about our traits, I'm just going to go back and just show you sort of one of the key, like, let's go back to one of the bigger ones. One thing you'll see about the traits, it's not the typical silhouette, right? Like you're not going to see an animal silhouette where it's going to interchange glasses or interchange clothing. You're going to see like these are head traits. Like every head is unique. You're going to see complete different torsos. Like the artwork has been thought about so intricacy and has gone into so much detail. Like the artist alone spends hours just trying to make sure each head works with every single trait.
Wow.
So there has, like, I know I'm biased, and every time I say this, someone goes, no, there's a collection very similar, but I'm just going to say, I'm going to throw it out there. I have never seen a collection like this on any blockchain, to how the traits are getting done and how considerate they're being across every single head trait, every single torso. So I've never seen anything to this detail be created before. And look, like, I just have to give a throwback to Jesser. I know he's working sort of 16 to 18 hours a day at the moment to really
that's what it takes.
Yeah, to fine tune this. And look, and he will be the first person to tell you, like, if anyone asked him to do a collection like this again, he'll probably blatantly say, hell no.
Right.
But at the same point, like, he's saying he's starting to get quite emotional now, because it's like when an artist, he goes, and he was saying that, when an artist is getting close to completion, because when you start getting emotional about your work, that it's getting close to come to fruition. But I said to him, I said, like, if you had to put a price in this collection, like, what would you charge someone? He goes, it's priceless, because Just Rise not only came up with the, obviously myself and Jetson play a big part in the traits and how it all rolls out, but like, he's had this idea of this keyboard warriors and this nostalgia for years. He's always wanted to have a platform to put it all together. So and I've known Jess Wright since he's 17. Like, he worked in one of my companies like very early on. So I've had this great relationship. I've seen him blossom. I've seen him do this incredible stuff. And when I said to him, I said, well, how much would you charge someone for this? He goes, it's priceless. Like, I couldn't put a price on it. He goes, with the amount of time and effort I put in, it's the hundreds of thousands of dollars I would put on a collection like this. So
wow.
I guess the way that I look at it, and when we talk about a 55 ADA price, with as a in the whitelist sale, at a 65 ADA price, like, we always just looked at it as like, we just wanted to create so much value for the CNFT plays. And if the art alone, give a value to the art alone, everything we do on top of that is an added bonus. That was always our early mentality. We blow people away with the art. We give everyone a very low entry point. Everyone's going to be completely blown away. It's an IRL artist who gets paid tens of thousands of dollars by the biggest commercial brands and the biggest brands globally to be able to do stuff with them, to create. He's put more hours into this collection than any collection or any art piece he's ever done his entire career. And it's fair to say. Wow,
that's impressive. That's very impressive.
Yeah, and it's fair to say, like, this is going to be a legacy piece for him, and it's going to be a collection that's going to last the ages. So
that's right.
He's put everything into this. It's not like and we're at the point where, like, we've got a lot of the traits done, and we want to start rolling out start rolling through and start running the scripts. But he's like, I can't stop yet. It's not like, there's a couple more things I need to do, because he's putting his everything into this. And I just think that, like, we talk about the price, 55 ADA, like, it is for us, and it's such a low entry point. But, like, we just always thought about, like, we just wanted people to be able to, see the value in what the artist is able to do, and everything that we do on top of the art is just an added incentive, an added bonus.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of utility stuff that you guys do have going on. I know a little bit about that. Yeah. I don't want to get you off track, because I know Jetson's going to throw us some knowledge here in a few minutes on the second half. But I'll tell you what, I'll save some of my questions for a little bit later, because I'm getting excited here about a few things that my mind's starting to turn. Yeah, please carry on.
Awesome. I'm going to flip this over to Jedson now, and he can obviously talk about the second part of the project, which is the Internet Cafe. So go crazy.
Awesome. Cheers, D-Tonks. And thanks for having us on as well. I really appreciate it. I'll jump straight into it. So basically, our second part of the project is, obviously in the name, is the Internet Cafes. And what these Internet Cafes are going to be essentially are these ultimate sort of hangout areas for our keyboard warriors to come together and do lots of different awesome things. Now, what we want to try and accomplish with these Internet Cafes is we are building these Internet Cafes to go into multiple different metaverses. So obviously you can buy land in Pavia and Boss Planet and these kinds of things and build assets on there. And dependent on which metaverse we decide to go into as a team and as a community, then there'll be all sorts of different sort of utilities and features that will come with that. A big decision that we've done as a team is we've actually decided to build our own Internet Cafe that's standalone from the metaverse. So this will be like which is actually, we're getting our beta version, is getting very, very close to getting finished, which you'll be able to walk around the outside of the Internet Cafe, run, jump, and just get a feel for what's to come. But essentially what these Internet Cafes are going to allow our keyboard warriors to do is we will have all sorts of fun things like art galleries. Like Jess will have his own art gallery in there. We'll also host other people's art in the galleries as well. So the community will be able to jump in and, if they've got some fan art and all sorts of stuff like that, we can host that in the art galleries. We'll have the KWIC Mart in there as well, which is the first sort of thing that we've done with the KWIC Mart was the That's No Moon t-shirt. Yeah, there we go.
There it is.
Nice. Yeah, nice.
That was for, like what D-Tong said before, that was for going into CNFT Con. But look, there's more. The artist is just amazing, and he's got so many ideas about other sorts of fun merch and stuff like that as well. So we will have the KWIC Mart in there, and that will be great. Also just like fun sort of social things in there. We're also going to have a gaming floor, which we're going to build out some games and also incorporate other games into the cafe as well. It's really endless. Host events, and then obviously just whatever else these other these other metaverses allow us to do in their metaverse. We'll be able to adapt and pivot and utilize those other sort of bigger plays, which is a very interesting sort of way of doing it, in the sense of that we're not tied to one metaverse like Pavia or Sandbox or any one sort of central metaverse. The strategy around this is that we have our own sort of, I guess you could call miniverse with the Internet Cafe, but also we are able to capitalize.
Quickverse. We call it a Quickverse. Little
Quickverse, yeah. With our own Internet Cafe, but also we are able to basically pick up and put down into other currently top performing metaverses, which will allow our community to benefit from. And as most ways as possible, essentially, whatever that metaverse will allow us to do, we have an amazing development team that are super diverse and super capable, that will be able to maximize the sort of, I guess, the utilities of each metaverse that we go into.
Right, and that's one of the things, in the space, like there's so many different metaverses, and they don't all act the same way.
Exactly right.
We've got some voxel things, the metaverse is a huge idea, and the technology with the idea is still playing catch up. So, to say that you have a development team, that would have been one of my questions that you already answered for me, is who's going to be, besides the two of you and your artists, you've got all these amazing people, but, to have a team sitting ready to start to like hammer that out as soon as you have the capabilities, that's really important, because, when these things do come to fruition, they're going to happen pretty quick. It's going to take a long time to get there. And then once you bust through that roof, it's like, boom, things are going to happen quick in the metaverse, in this decade. And so to be able to interact, in multiple metaverses is really cool.
Yeah, look, I think
the big thing,
we have a full development team that are already working on building out our personal internet cafe in Unity, but they're well versed not only in Unity but Unreal Engine 5. So we have 3D asset builders, we have graphic designers, we have all sorts of amazing people that are working actually behind the scenes for quite a while now, putting this all together. So definitely ready for it, for sure.
And I think like the big thing that I think the big decision, and I've got to give full credits to Jed for putting this together, is that probably a lot of the feedback that we got early in our project is everyone was like, just focus on the art. Like, why are you taking on the Internet Cafe? Like, just be an art-based project. You've got this incredible art. But like, and we all say as a team, I said, well, we're an art-based project with big vision, right? And we know the metaverse is going to play such an intrinsic part of how NFTs will develop and how our interactions work. And if you think back to like what Jess Wright created with Dell, this immersive 3D experience with Dell, like think about what he could do in the metaverse with like with our IP and what we're creating. Like people just think, I think sometimes people think very 3 months, 6 months, and we're thinking sort of 3 to 5 years. And I know that the decision, and we got a lot of feedback early on, because like, to be fair, like we were just waiting for like a Pavia and a lot of these big metaverses to have all the different sort of feedback and all the sort
guidelines.
Of, what's the word I'm looking for, Jed? Guidelines ready for us to then finish off the development. And look, I know that we just made this decision as a team going, you know what, let's just actually build our own Quickverse. And we don't want to call it a metaverse. It's probably more of a miniverse, but it's like we can obviously create our internet cafe and use this as the standard of how we envision our internet cafe looking and operating. And to say that we're going to have a very basic beta version ready around mint day, like I think is a testament to Jed and the work that he's putting in behind the scenes, but also just shows the ambition of where we are as a project. Like we could have waited a year and a half to getting more guidelines and waiting to build in other metaverses. But we see as this is a great opportunity for us to have a proof of concept. Number two, for us to actually trial a whole bunch of really cool stuff because there might be some metaverses we might not be able to have an art gallery in, or there might be some metaverses that we might not be able to put some of our games in because of some of the rules and whatnot. But we can use this as our as the standard of what we envision our the internet cafe being, and then with every other metaverse is going to be like a slightly different, but also a really cool version.
And unique as well.
Okay, so I was going to say that now we're into deeper territory to where now I'm now learning more about your project from beyond my own research. So are you telling me that your miniverse is going to be ready somewhere around your mint date?
So to a degree, the phase 1 beta version. Okay. So basically what that will mean is that for the exterior of the internet cafe, which you can see on the website just there, basically you'll be able to run around the outside, jump and walk around the outside of that as a single player sort of experience, just to, I guess, essentially show what we're envisioning and gives people a feel of what we're trying to create as well. So that,
your base layer for what
and then straight after that, we'll be back into development into multiplayer functionality and all sorts of other game layer functionality. Then we'll open up the internet cafe. We'll start to flesh out the floors, and it will start with our social floor, then our gaming floor, then our event floor. So it will.
Wow, that's actually that's amazing that you're going to have that. Basically starting to build now. At least to some degree, instead of being like, you have plans to be here for a very long time. But, like I said, it's taken a very slow time for the concept of metaverses to really get there. But I mean, it sounds to me like you're actually kind of ahead of the curve on that in a way.
Thing as well with like the metaverse, I find that a very tough word to tackle because I truly don't believe that a lot of people don't quite understand or the metaverse is such a big word, and like you don't really like know exactly what the metaverse is going to be yet, and like no one really knows yet. It's still being developed. So we wanted to come up with an approach to our metaverse play that is, I guess, flexible, and at any moment's notice we can pivot and capitalize on the current situation, so that we're not just tied to a single entity that can not have the greatest prospects, I guess, is the best way to explain it.
So, almost like having not a single point of failure. In other words, you're not so invested in what they're doing, and trusting the hands of the people who are developing, their own ideas and things like that, and integrating. You're taking, your destiny into your own hands, essentially.
Exactly right.
Which is good to know because, like you said, and I say that all on my channel all the time. The metaverse is a big idea.
Agreed.
The technology has not caught up to the mindset yet of what it can be, and we know that the sky's the limit. But we're nowhere even near that
still
yet.
On the ground.
We really are. We haven't even launched yet. We literally are still on the ground, which is great. But you look around the CNFT space and you see things like Pavia, which was basically kind of sort of, I guess, first to act.
Yes, for sure.
I don't know too much about Pavia itself. I've invested a little bit. I invest a little bit here and there and everywhere, really. And we know that Boss Planet's got a lot of voxel integration and stuff like that. And we know that there's going to be projects that are going to continue to come and continue to develop in the space or whatever. But it's great to see the innovation continue to move forward and allow a project like yours, who you don't even have to collaborate with these metaverses yet, to be able to be like, hey, this is what we're doing over here. And when we can, it start to integrate these things based, like you said, on the outlines that each individual metaverse has for you to be able to integrate into that. So that's a long-term play right there. But at the same time, doing your own thing on the side, which I think is fantastic. I mean, there's got to be a reason why people are excited beyond just the art, because yes, like you were saying earlier, Daniel, the art is amazing, but very few projects in the space can make it based on art alone. People want, value in so many different ways, because art is amazing, and art is how NFTs really got their start, really. But, with utility and with all these other things that you can do now with an NFT, which we're still as well scratching the surface of, it's great to see that you guys basically, in other words, you're not letting other people dictate, the sense that I've gotten after talking with you a couple times now, Danny, you're not allowing other people to dictate what they think you should do or should not do or outline. And I think that's great, because this is your vision. This is your dream. This is your idea. And you bring it to fruition the way you want to. And you start to put your own stamp on it. And then your community and your project reflect basically, who the founders are, which at this point, I'm all in based on that, simply knowing, the energy and the thought and the mindset behind all this. So, Huge marks to you guys from me personally, because I see this as an iceberg project, and I like to cover a lot of projects like that. There's this much on top, but you look underneath and you got all this just kind of sitting there waiting to be developed and pushed towards the surface. And I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. I think if we listened to people, we would have a 1,000 collection and we would have no internet cafe. So like, look, like, and it's funny, right? Like a lot of our, look, don't get us wrong. Like it's interesting. A lot of our a lot of people early into a Discord were like going, oh no, like an 8,888 collection in a bear market, it's too much. It's quite funny that these people now are turning around and going, maybe we should go to 10,000. Like, maybe we should go a little bit more because like,
right.
So it's interesting, like now, like, but look, unfortunately, it's like anything. It's that, people don't buy in until you've got the success. And a lot of the ways it's like you need to show success before people get the full picture. But like, you need to stay true to the vision. And I think we've always just tried to stay true to our vision and what we were trying to do. And, we wanted to, we came in big, like from the get-go, we said, hey, you know what, this is incredible art, but we're going into the metaverse. We said it from day one. And our ambition was very clear from the get-go. So yeah, it's been interesting, but I cannot wait because I don't know if you've seen what our 3D character looks like yet. But we've got a 3D character that's already rigged, ready to actually walk around the outside of the internet cafe, and that's who you're going to be walking and jumping and running. And his name is Bitmap. So he looks pretty mean. And if you check out what he looks like, the artist has done something very unique. He said, look, I want our characters to have like a blue outline. I want him to be 3D, but have a blue outline. It gives it a little like a glow, like how like a character would look like in a comic book. So if you look at our collection, everything has blue lines, and even our 3D character has a blue line around it too. Which, yeah, like it's again, it's a bit of a nod to our collection and also throws back. But I want to show you Bitmap and show you what he looks like. But I'm just trying to think where it would be, and I'm not going to mess up the share screen. But anyway, we'll give you the link afterwards, and then you'll be able to see what. There you go.
I kind of like that though, because I'm always trying to teach people how to DYOR, and even if that's just the most simplest thing, like clicking a link or searching out the kinds of things that you want to find to know more about what you're investing in. So I consider myself more of an educator than an influencer. I'm not an influencer. I'm here to educate people on the CNFT space. And so, hey, listen, you heard what my man's saying, right? Click that link, you guys. If you want to see more about what's going on, do your own research. Dive into, all the socials attached to any project that you're looking at, especially something that, is getting ready to come to mint and to bring so much to the CNFT space. So click those links, you guys. Check out that character for yourself and get used to DYORing, fam.
Yeah, nice. Well, it probably is a good segue to actually talk a bit about the co-founders and talk a bit about our experiences and what we've been doing. And, and then I'd love to obviously talk, we can give you a bit of an insight into the team and who the team is. I don't think I really need to say anything more about Jess Rye. Again, he's an IRL artist. He started as a graffiti artist very early on. And then, he would say this himself, got arrested for like the third time and sort of realizing he can't just become a graffiti artist. So then he went and studied graphic design and then really fine-tuned his art ability. He went out there and created his own clothing brand. And then where all the murals and the collaboration started for him, he did his very first mural with Nokia back in the big brick days. And that's what set him on the pathway to be able to go out there and start getting a name for himself, within the sort of the corporate space of the go-to person to be able to collab with because of his unique art style. And if you go back and have a look at a lot of his artwork, you can see there's a lot of like nostalgia thrown back through all his collection. There's the graffiti references. There's a lot of his personal experiences are all through his artwork, which what I love because I think if you go back and look at his Instagram page, you can see like who he is through his art. Like it's very, very like vivid. So he's also got his own gallery, which we talked about, and he's actually also got his own advertising gallery. an advertising agency, and it's a little bit different. So, for example, there's sporting teams like the Melbourne Storm, which is a big sporting team in Australia. He's actually did like a big mural for them, and he does it for big brands too. So it's another business that he owns. It's like an art-based advertising agency, which is they advertise your brand, but they do it in an artistic way. And then obviously, he's got his own brand, which is Jess Wright, which is, people can speak to him about doing murals, and corporate business speak to him about doing a whole bunch of different stuff. So Jess Wright is obviously a big part of the creative part and the creative driver of our project. A bit about myself. Look, I started off as a graffiti artist. I think that's probably why I connected with Jess from a very early point. I was nowhere near as talented as Jess Wright, but you know what? I did do paid work. I was good enough for companies to pay me. They must have seen something in me that to be able to pay me. And then I probably got to my early sort of 20s and growing up in a middle-class family, people around me saying, hey, what are you going to do? Money doesn't grow on trees. You need to go and get a career and go get a job. And look, my parents have always been pretty supportive, to be fair, but it's not so much just my parents, it's the people around, some of the people I had around me is, all sort of talking about, you need to go do something. So, I probably sort of realized art maybe wasn't going to be my future. I loved it, but I'm nowhere near as talented as there's other people out there. And I probably saw it more as a hobby, as something than a career. So I had to go get a job. One thing I found very early on is that I'm a very bad employee. I realized very quickly I found it very hard to be motivated to work with other people, and not because I'm a bad employee. I just found that most companies I work for probably didn't really treat me the way that I wanted to be treated, and probably just didn't actually give me the opportunity to be able to really be to help and play a part in that business. So the last company before everything changed for me is I got fired from sleeping on the toilet. I know,
not the best place to take a nap, maybe.
Yeah. So I went home and I probably realized at that point there is something wrong with me. I was so uninspired. I probably realized at that point I was like, I need to go do something. So I tried to find inspiration. I went traveling around the world. I ended up having a really bad motorbike accident overseas, which ended my trip instantly. So then I came back to Perth, Australia. That's where I grew up, and I think a lot of things changed for me at that point because I was in a pretty bad mental space. I sort of blaming the world for, my situation. I sort of found autobiographies as a bit of an escape. So I ended up reading a whole bunch of autobiographies in a very short period of time, and it sort of changed my way of looking at the world. I read about Michael Jordan and his story, and about Richard Branson and Anthony Kiedis, the lead singer from the Chili Peppers. I read about all these incredible stories, and all their stories were very similar. They had lots of doubt thrown at them. People saying to them, "Hey, you're probably not going to make it," and they just sort of stayed on path. And I just remember thinking, I was like, "What is my story going to read one day? If I had to write a book and someone had to read my book, what is it going to say? Well, Daniel got a job and worked in a job because a lot of people said that's probably the best way to do things, and retired, and he's got 2.5 kids and a dog, and I don't know if anyone was going to read that book." And I just probably thought I just thought that I could do more, and I probably made the decision at that point that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but not because I wanted to build businesses, but I just loved the idea of creating and building something from scratch. I wanted to be able to grab something and turn it into a living, breathing thing. It's something that I've and that could have been through a business, or could have been through a community. It could have been through an NFT project. Look, there's so many different ways.
To say, this is the perfect platform for you to do these kinds of things. It really is.
Yeah. So I started my very first company when I was 22, so that was 15 years ago. Very naive, not knowing what I was doing. I built that business to be a $1 million business very quickly. It's a business that still runs today. It's in multiple cities in Australia. It's international. It's an outsourced sales agency. I've also owned a recruitment company, which is a multi-million-dollar business. I own a renewable business, which is also a multi-million-dollar business. I do consulting. for a whole different business companies. I wrote a book called Shit Happens Then Rainbows. And I talked about a big part about me getting a fight on the toilet was actually the reason why I get to live this NFT rainbow today. I talk about my motorbike accident, and in Europe is the reason why I get to live this entrepreneurial life today. And I just talk about all the things that when really bad happened, I was able to trace back to the rainbows that I lived in the future. But I guess looking back, the reason why, I don't think I'm an overly talented person, and Jedson could tell you all my faults. We laugh about it all the time. I'm terrible with technology. I'm terrible at lots of things, but the things that I'm good at is taking action. Like I've always been able to take action and it doesn't matter, and not procrastinating, not sitting on ideas and sitting on dreams. Like I've just been able to, even though I fail every day, but just take a small step towards being able to, to just try and be better. And I think that's probably what's enabled me to be able to build, be a career entrepreneur and be able to do lots of incredible things. I think for me, like the NFT space for me was full 360. It sort of landed me to what started my creativity and my entrepreneurship journey, which was being a graffiti artist. I was an entrepreneur as a graffiti artist. I had to sell my artwork to business and get them to pay me to do work, right? I wasn't very good at doing it, but it was what started my entrepreneurial journey. And so when I fell into NFTs, I instantly was in love. Like I fell in love with NFTs instantly. I started in Ethereum, actually. Ethereum was my very first love. I say that very, very openly. I started in Ethereum, and I then had a quick one-night fling with Solana, and then Jed was speaking to me about CNFTs and Cardano blockchain, and going, "Hey, you need to get into Cardano." Now, at the time, I had a $100,000 NFT. I had multiple $100,000 NFTs in Ethereum, and Jedson goes, "Come to Cardano." I remember looking, and I think
are we talking Bored Apes? Or are we talking?
I had Doodles at the time, and Doodles were doing very well. I do have Mutant Apes as well, but some of my Doodles I had were quite rare, and they were worth about 100,000 US at the time of this conversation. And Jedson was going, "Hey, come over." And I remember looking at the top project with Spacebards. I remember looking at it. I think that's only worth I could probably buy that for 5,000 or 6,000. I just couldn't get my concept around why I would make the move into CNFTs. And that is funny. Like I started in Boss Cat Rocket Club and Cardano Croc Club. That was where and that's where obviously I remember seeing you very early on. I started there and I just fell in love with the Cardano space, to be honest with you. The community just had me from go. And when we inevitably made the decision to build a project, like I just think that we all we knew that Cardano was the place. Not only do we believe in the technology and what it's trying to do, but also in terms of the space and the people in the space. Like, we just saw this as a great opportunity to actually build and create a legacy and be a part of a big shift within this Cardano and CNFT space. For us, like the legacy part was always going to be so much more important than the financial sort of income we could have earned if we did it on an Ethereum blockchain. Like I think being a part of a legacy and a movement within Cardano was a big reason why we wanted to get into this space. So we made the decision to put this project together. So I was speaking to, so I know Jess Rye and Jedson separately. So so I moved to Sydney to expand my business. I've known Jed since he was 15 years old, to be honest with you. Like he's always been a very clever and very smart and person who's got a lot of talent. And I met Jess Rye when he was 70. So I've known these people for well over 10 years. And I knew, I was like, Jedson's got something to he's such a smart person. He's very in tune with, he's very successful in his day-to-day job. And I'm not going to talk about what he does. He will obviously explain it to him. I'm not going to steal his thunder. Which sometimes I can do. So I do apologize. I get very excited. I get very excited about what I'm trying to talk about.
Baby, let's go.
And then, I met obviously Jess Rye when he was, was 17. So I've seen both these people develop and I've seen what they can bring. And when Jedson spoke to me about the CNFT space and gave me the insight into what Cardano can do, like I was like, okay, hey Jed, I know this amazing artist. You obviously understand a lot about the technology and whatnot. I can just make shit happen. I was like,
that's great. What a combination.
Let's put this together. So we started the conversation in February. Yeah. Just Right already had some very early keyboard warriors had actually already designed. We should actually
I'd love to show one. Hey, the way how far it's come is ridiculous.
Yeah, actually, we'll put one into the channel. The very early keyboard warriors. So we already had one, and the conversation started. But obviously, it's now November, and lots happened since then. But look, I'm so I'm so happy that we landed in CNFT. Like, I think, for me, the cherry in the top was going to that CNFT con. I was able to represent our brand and get a booth. And honestly, there's so many just amazing like project leads and community members and just partners that are just.
Look, the CNFT space is where it's at. I was going to say, I'm thrilled that you're here. As an investor, as somebody, as a YouTuber, as somebody who's, I've done my own project, I've done all these things. I'm glad that you're here, and you segued into this whole thing. I mean, you basically answered questions that I've had this whole time. Like, how did you get here? And obviously, like Jedson, you're the one who had the understanding of We all know that Cardano is special. Yeah. We all know that Cardano is really where it's at. And we all know that that's the place where the most growth can take place. If you look at the sales volume in NFTs across the board, and I'm glad that you said you had a one-night stand with Solana. That's one thing I got my start in Ethereum NFTs too, got my butt kicked, hated the whole thing, and I had a bad taste in my mouth. It's when I came to Cardano because I was a fan of Cardano since 2017 myself as a cryptocurrency investor. I said, if Cardano's got NFTs, I'm going to give this a second shot. And that's what got me excited. So it's like I've already been down this road and down this journey of being excited about what the CNFT space has that's different than the other NFT spaces. Solana being broken, Ethereum having all kinds of trouble, and nobody having the kinds of communities that we have here in the Cardano space. So
100%.
I'm thankful that you're here. And I know that there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be investing in your project, a lot of people who have heard you speak already, whether it's on Spaces, people who are watching this interview right now. I know that they're excited as well. And there's a couple things that I wanted to point out. This is not just some project, folks, that has just been, okay, we see the success in the Cardano space. Let's in 30, 60, 90 days, let's get a project, from an idea ready to go. Not all projects can work that way. In fact, most of them can't. That's how you end up seeing a lot of these things that they're either rug pulls or they're unintentional, but they fall apart because they don't have the foundations, they don't have the team, they don't have everything that you need structurally wise to make a successful project. So you said you kind of started in February-ish with some rough stuff, and then you start throwing the team together, and that's how you get from there to here. And we all know that this space, time goes by so quickly. It's like dog years. One day is like a week. 1 week is like 6 months almost. It seems like sometimes, and so here we are in the Cardano space, and that speaks volumes to what's happening in Cardano. You see a project like Keyboard Warriors and all that they could bring. Like you said, you could go to Ethereum, you could probably make a ton of money. Absolutely, with this structure, with this idea, with this team, but it's not about that for you guys, and I love to hear that because this is more of a legacy play, which could turn into a whole lot of other things down the road because it's the mindset that you're putting towards the project. So I'm very impressed to hear that. I know that the people who follow me, my subs, are very loyal. I'm sure people are really getting a kick out of this interview right now because we're looking at something different. We're talking about something that's kind of like an upper echelon, the next step up into these very robust projects. So I'm happy you're here, man. I really am.
I say to everyone very openly now, like I am married to Cardano now. So I had my first love is Ethereum. I had my late night fling with Solana, but I'm now married to Cardano. So
that's fantastic. That is awesome. And so, Jedson, your background with Cardano, how is it that you came to know so much to where you were educating Daniel on, hey, if we're going to do this, this is where we're going to do it, and this is
well, to be completely honest, I actually had a friend just call me one day and say, have you ever heard of NFTs? And I was just like, nah, I have no idea what you're talking about. I've always been heavy into crypto and all that kind of stuff for years, since about 2017. So I've been around looking in and out of crypto for a while. And he actually called me one day and he's like, man, I need to talk to you about something. I was like, what's that? He's just like, have you ever heard of NFTs? I was like, no. He's like, you need to check it out. And I was like, okay. So I started doing a bit of research into NFTs, and I stumbled across Cardano right in their very early stages, back when CNFT IO, you had to use their escrow service to trade, and you got your thumbs up if you succeeded, and your thumbs down if you pulled out on the trade. So right back at the start.
I missed all that. Thank God.
Yeah, it was actually a nightmare. You would have a trade locked up, ready to go, and then at last minute they would just pull it off from you, and you'd just be gutted. So yeah, so I've been around.
We've come a long way,
very long way, and I've been like heavily involved since those early days, right? So I guess that's probably how I've come to understand the technology and the ins and outs of what they're trying to achieve, and really just become to believe in the ecosystem as a whole quite early on. And I remember when I saw Dan, actually, because I've known him for quite some time now. We hadn't really spoke for quite a while, actually, and then I seen him post on Instagram one day a photo of his of one of his NFTs, and I was just like, oh, crazy! He's into NFTs too, because it's very few and far between over, especially in Perth, people that are actually interested in it. So when I saw it, I gave him a call and we started chatting about it. And now I think we've spoken, I don't know, every single day, multiple hours a day for probably the last year and a half.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
A lot. So yeah, no, that's probably how, I guess, the whole how we came into sort of the NFTs and landing on Cardano, and why we sort of chose it, I guess. As far as what I do and my sort of journey, I guess, so far is I actually dropped out of school quite early. I was 16, 17. I left school. I didn't find it in a very interesting place. I found it quite boring, to be completely honest. And I moved straight into the construction industry. And within the first couple of years of me being in the construction industry, I actually got, by the time I was 21 years old, I was actually running multi-million-dollar commercial projects. And as being a 21-year-old running those sort of projects, you'd get the weird sort of looks. People would just not believe you. But I started at quite a young age, and I understood the ins and outs of it quite early. And since then, I've kind of just honed my skills in building these amazing teams and solving very complex problems for multi-billion-dollar clients and running multi-million-dollar projects for years now. So I've been doing that for 5 years, and I've really kind of honed my skill in on making sure that projects meet on timelines, under budget. When there's complex problems comes up, I solve it straight away, and I've been doing that for since quite a young age, I guess. I guess that's kind of in a nutshell. Very quickly, I'm not as good at talking as Dan, but in a nutshell, that's kind of my experience as in the workspace. But I guess what I've learned over those like creating these multi-million-dollar projects and making sure that they get delivered on time and under budget and all these kinds of things, I guess it's helped me create a hoard of skills of be able to create like solve complex problems. I'm a very, very quick learner. As soon as I'm a type of person that once I learn something once, I never need to learn it again. I don't know why. I can just always seem to remember it, and usually I have a bit of an issue of becoming an expert on things. Well, I think I am anyway.
Not a bad thing.
That's it. So yeah, I guess that's probably my sort of experience in my sort of professional sort of career and how I sort of got there.
Well, what's cool about NFTs is you can see
Jetson's very humble. He's a very humble person, but he's he is the brain behind a lot of the technology, and and he's very good. Like he's got a very good tech mind. He's able to solve stuff. Like he was able to figure out like all the robots, all the bots, everything in the Discord in a very short period of time. He built the whole Discord server. Like he's just got like this ability to just figure things out. I think that is such an important skill set to have, especially within an NFT project when the skills need to be quite wide and there's lots of different things happening and whatnot. So he's very humble, but like he is a very important part of our team.
Well, and I was going to say too, the thing about the NFT space is even though we're dealing with, basically digital technology, at the end of the day, that's what this all is. Whether it's Metaverse, whether it's JPEGs, whether it's the creation of art and making it digital, all these other things, the integrations, building a Discord, which I had to learn on the fly and I had to have someone help me with that. And, there's a lot to know here, but the NFT space allows people to take their real life skills, their real life, learnings along the way in their journey and apply it and kind of put their stamp, their personality, and their understanding of life onto their project, which is why every project is different because every person is different. Right. And so when you take those kinds of things and you start to crossbreed, real life into an NFT project, putting your stamp on it and having it become basically like your baby, it's like your project. It's like you start to find that you make relationships with your community. You start to love what you do. And if you love what you do, you're going to typically do a really good job because you enjoy it. It's a different kind of work, and it's a different, whether you do it for a living like I do, or whether it's like you have a real life job and you formulate these ideas and you bring an NFT project from an idea to an actual, project on the blockchain that people are taking part of. It's like a dream journey. And there's difficulties, there's highs, there's lows. Like you said, there's rainbows at the end of every failure, and it sounds to me like, back to the first feel I got, the first conversation we had when I reached out to you, a lot of passion behind this project. You've got passion, you've got brains, and you've got art. And to me, that's almost like the perfect storm of creating something that, like I said, can, potentially be like a next level project on the blockchain. Which is fantastic. And again, bringing it to Cardano, which is a wonderful thing. So I have a couple small questions for you, and then I'll let you continue on with whatever it is that you guys want to share with us continuously.
Yep.
But so you mentioned two different prices, 55 ADA and 65 ADA. Is 55 a whitelist and 65 a public?
Yeah, that's correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when are you guys tentatively planning on coming and bringing your project to Mint?
So it's the 26th and 27th of November.
Okay, that's right. Now that jars my memory. So last time I spoke to Daniel, you guys had not had that set in stone yet. So we're talking about, basically at the end of this month coming up,
3
here,
weeks.
which still plenty of time to, you're going to have to at some point slow down your artist and tell them, okay, we've got a set number at this point of traits to fit in before we start having to, add some things at the last minute. But so there you have it, you guys. There's your price. Like you said, I think that is a very fair entry price into a project that is as deep as what you guys are building. 55 ADA is great. That allows everybody to kind of get involved. And if you're going to have a higher run, you said 8,888, which I think is absolutely feasible, very doable. You kind of offset, having a higher collection by having a mint price that's affordable for everybody. It reaches across all kinds of different, whether it's deep pocketed investors or people who are surface level or people who maybe are just dabbling and jumping in. Now, if you start to put the art with that, especially people that are like our age, somewhere between, where all three of us are at here, and the nostalgia involved is going to, I think, reach a lot of people. Because, a lot of people who are into NFTs and crypto were people who were gamers, earlier, or people who were, early on, whether it was just the Nintendo generation or all the way up to those first person shooters that I can't even keep up with anymore. I think that appeals to a wide range of people and their technological involvement. So it's fantastic what you guys are doing. And so is whitelist the 26th and public the 27th?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, and so how long is your whitelist? Is it a 24-hour? Is it a 12-hour?
24 hours, yeah, correct.
Fantastic. I think that people need to at least have a 24-hour mint window.
All around the world.
Yeah, absolutely. We're on a UTC clock here, right?
Yeah.
A lot of projects, and they've been successful with it, but to give someone a 3-4 hour window to mint whitelist, I think kind of undercuts how hard it is sometimes to earn a whitelist. It's really not fair. I agree. And so what are your plans after whitelist? Let's say we're hitting public. Do you guys have an idea of? And I know you don't have to talk about this if it's not something you want to mention on here in public. But how many whitelist opportunities are there to mint the project as far as a percentage?
So basically, if everyone was to mint on the whitelist sale, there would be about 300 NFTs left for public. But we're obviously thinking that not everyone always mints. You always do get a percentage of people that do drop off. So we're estimating somewhere between 500 to 1,000 for the public sale is what we're hoping. Yeah, we really.
But I just want to explain the mentality around that, because the way that we did our whitelist, right? You got to think about the way we did our whitelist. Our whitelist is done very differently. It's all about collecting coins, right? So the way that we did it from the very get-go is that, well, every day if you collect your coins, as soon as you get to a certain amount of coins, which is 2,500, you could buy your whitelist. So we have, there's no grinding. It's not like you need to go out there and jump through 4 hoops and you need to invite 20 friends, and it's not about to get to level 30 or anything like that. It's like, we made it like, and the thing is, because we're starting to get people from the community saying, oh, well, like it's not going to be that many for the public. I was like, yeah, like, we appreciate the respect that we've purposely did it so that it will 100% be like public, people for mint. But you got to think back to like the essence of our project. It's that we've set up a whitelist way where if people collect the coins, they can buy the whitelist. Like, so we've just happened to have a lot of people that have bought their whitelist, and
that's fantastic.
And we just want to stay true to the essence of our project. It was never about grinding. It was about vibing. It was about like having this great
and having a genuine
great Discord community.
Well. That's a big thing.
Yeah,
fantastic. Well, yeah, because that's what you want within your community. I mean, and especially like if someone's going to take the time to, collect these coins, and it's almost like, buying these whitelists, obviously without spending real world money. You would assume that those people are going to want to mint their whitelists. I have no problem with the project, whether they want to mint out completely within their own community. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people, they want to have that public, but, having a balance of public and private whitelists is not a formula. It's different for every project. Some projects have different numbers. Some projects have different prices. They have different goals. I mean, every project is unique. So it's basically however the founders want to do it is great. And that goes back to earlier when I was telling you, you're not allowing people to basically steer your ship, which is great. Because at the end of the day, speaking from experience here on my own journey, you are the captains of your ship, and where you steer your ship is where your ship's going to go and how it's going to sail. And so, you're, like you said, your whitelist experience is very unique. I didn't even know that you were basically attaining these coins and buying your whitelist with them. So, so the possibility of the minimal amount going to public is going to be around 300, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Correct.
Which out of 8,888, that's not much. And I'll tell you what, the more people you have minting out on your whitelist, the more that's going to generate the public going, what the heck's going on with this project? I gotta get in, So basically, it in my opinion, if as an investor looking into this project, which is exactly what I am at the end of the day, I'm an investor. I'm wanting some whitelists, right? I'm wanting to take my shot, and I'm wanting to get in on this project, and I'm wanting to make sure that I have whitelists to this because there might not be a public for me. And so, again, hats off to you guys for knowing how to run a project the right way and to appeal to your, at the end of the day, it's the community that you're serving. Those are the people who have been along with you on your journey, along with your ride. They've watched you come from this place to this place to this place. And I think that those people deserve the first shot before the public. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, 100%. And I think like what we were saying is that, like, if we think about how many giveaways we've done with other projects, it's very minimal compared to the amount of people who've actually bought their whitelist, who've been there, who've worked with us, from the very start. And it doesn't take long to buy a whitelist. It literally, I think people can do it in 14 days if they just collect coins daily. Like it's the most, it's just the most fairest whitelist system that I've ever seen. Like it's not any fairer. And if people joined 2 weeks ago, they'd be buy their whitelist today. If people joined, this week, look, I don't know if there's going to be any whitelists left in 2 weeks' time. Like, I think we're at the last sort of, how many, Jed, do you think now? 400 maybe? 300?
Yeah, I think it's in the 300.
Yeah, like I think we're
you better save some of those for me and my people. I got a few people who are really clamoring for some whitelists on there, and but I was going to say real quick too, not to interject, but this is kind of a copycat league. If it's a successful system, get ready for people to kind of look at what you guys are doing, look at your success and go, we're going to do it this way. Because that's what a lot of people do when they come in here and they make a project. They look at what works, they implement it, they look at what doesn't work, and hopefully they're smart enough to get that stuff off to the side and trash can it. So if this is a very successful whitelist to a program, which I think it should be, get ready for the best form of flattery, which is copycatting.
Yeah, fair enough.
But then you could be the first one to do it. You're the first one to do it. You're the trailblazer on this. So that's good. You're bringing a lot of value to the Cardano space, you guys. You really are.
Yeah, no, appreciate that. Appreciate that a lot. So Look, I think like probably the last part that I just wanted to finish on before I go and talk a bit about the team and who's sort of working behind the scenes is that you sort of mentioned it before. And I think like, look, I've purchased a lot of NFTs for a lot of different projects over the last sort of year and a half. And I think there's probably been two things that were probably the instigator behind wanting to then create a project. I think the very first one was I found that there's a lot of projects just probably weren't funded and maybe didn't have the funds to be able to build and create their vision over a long period of time. So I think like that was an important part for us, is that, you know, we are a well-funded project. Like we have enough funds to be able to look, we can run this for 10 years plus.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great.
And like, I think that was an important part and really important part for the community to really sort of understand. I think the second part was just the whole like execution. And I think that sometimes comes with maybe not having the right funds, but also maybe come with not having the right experience. So the great thing is about like having like a really solid founder team. And we've also got a really solid team in general, but a really solid founder team is that we can actually achieve and execute on the things that we talked about. And I just felt that like just to go back to the community and talk a bit about it, like I think it's important to, you know, when you're looking to look at different projects, like I think it's important to know like who is steering the ship, like you just talked about before. You know, do they have experience? Are they funded? Like, can they back up the ideas with, you know, with experience and you know-how? I know that like a lot of people sort of still say to me now, they go, well, you know, Daniel, you've got a lot of different businesses, like why NFTs? And I think some people are into like boating, some people are into buying Ferraris, some people are into golf. Like for me, like I think I'm really into NFTs. And this for me is like it's like the ultimate.
It's how much you and I are alike. It's pretty ridiculous actually.
Like it's the ultimate passion project. Like I absolutely love it. Like I'm in Discord. Like I'm in Discord chatting to.
Do you live in Discord?
Like I'm in there. Look, last night I was up until 2 a.m. and like people ask questions and like I love answering questions, and it's, I don't know, just for us, like I can talk about myself, and I know that Jed and Jesse will say the same thing. Like this is just like this is like living the dream. And if we could all do this Web3 stuff full time, you know what? This Web3 business is a lot more exciting than any of my IRL businesses. So I would much rather do this all day, every day.
I can second that. I can second that for sure.
I can third that. There's a reason why I do this for a living, and I try to make sure that I don't end up with an IRL job again, because I like what I'm doing here. You know, basically, look, we're all obsessed with this because not only is it fun, it's also challenging. Yeah. You know, and it's if anybody with the creative mind would probably, you know, enjoy it for the same reasons we do, because the creativity, the challenge, you put it all together, the community, you know, and look, when you start to develop, you know, everything that you've planned and worked so hard on, that's when it really starts to kick in. I mean, I can't wait to see how you operate, you know, once you're coming to mint, you're getting to that point, you know, mint days like that. And then, you know, you mint your project, it's successful. And now it's like, now what? Now you've opened the floodgates, you've opened the door, and it's go time, you know? And so, you know, the answer as to why do you do this, simply because you want to. That's what it sounds like to me. Yeah. And I wish more founders had that vision, because so many people, they see this as an opportunity to make money, and that's great and everything. But if that's all you have, that's going to reflect in your project. At some point, that's going to show up. You know, and if you're doing this because, you know, you have a passion for it as well as the ability to do it, that's what to me makes it an amazing project. And then, again, that's the reason I have you guys on this channel. And just so you guys know, those of you who are subscribers to my channel, I will be doing a deep dive on this project, UltimateCNFT style, just like you're used to me doing. We wanted to get this founder interview first because I wanted you to hear from the mouths of those who are developing this project and the reasons behind it and the motivations behind it before I even jump into and do my own research, my own style. So keep an eye on that. That will be out probably somewhere in about the 2 weeks to 10-day range before this project does go to mint, which now we know what that mint date is. I'm very excited to be doing that deep dive because this is a project I will be investing myself, my own ADA into. This is a project I will be talking to, us on the Discord about. People are already starting to mention it right there. And you can see, in the words of these gentlemen right here, why are we doing what we do? Because we enjoy what we do and we're going to do it and we're going to do it well. And that fires me up, man.
No, I appreciate that. That's awesome. And look, every time we have these conversations with like-minded people, it just reignites the flame and
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And as it should, because it's like-minded people just, that I love to stoke the flames of fire because again, I can see that, and I can hear it in your voices and it's exciting what you're going to do and how you're going to create it. So you were telling me that you have other team members. Obviously I'm speaking to, 2 of the co-founders here.
Yeah.
You told me a lot about the artists. What else do we have on our team that we're working with that you do want to share with the people who are watching?
Yeah, appreciate that. And look, the first thing I have to say is I have to say thank you so much to our team that do make us look very good. I know sometimes the co-founders do get a lot of the recognition, but like there is so many people that make KWIC what it is. And from our moderator team to our sort of 3D artists to our developers, like there is such a big there's a team of close to 13 to 12 people behind the co-founders to support what we do day to day. So really appreciate them. I think probably the very first the people I want to introduce is the moderators, and it's quite interesting is that we actually hired our moderators. So we opened up August 26th was our very first day where we opened everything. Is that right?
Yeah,
Jet?
I think that's
August 26th.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, is when we opened up. But we actually hired a lot of our moderators like 12 weeks before that. And we were doing training for months before we opened the Discord.
Wow.
And the reason being is because we wanted our Discord to be the foundation of what our internet cafe will be like, the experience that people are going to have. We wanted to run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. At any time you can jump on, there's got to be someone there to speak to. So we've got one head moderator. His name's Justin. He's also a developer, which helps a lot having a head moderator as a developer, as you can imagine.
Yeah, it's kind of a dream come true.
Yeah. So I saw myself and Jed, have been in Discords for a long time. So we've been watching how people actually speak to their community. And Justin he actually took over the Baby Alien Club. He was a community member that took over the Baby Alien Club and, sort of is one of the sort of head moderators there. I saw the way that he speaks to his community and just saw him as being such an essential part of our brand, especially around, it's all about making people feel safe and bringing people together. So with his, with his mindset, his heart, with his development experience, like we saw him as a very valued member. So we picked Justin up very early on. So I, found him, we were, speaking to him, and then, we brought him on, one of the very first people sort of months ago. And then Startup Mafia is also, he was someone who came from ETH, but he probably actually helps a lot with like a lot of the consulting stuff, but he sort of came on very early on. And then we got all of our moderators, and Illicit was one of the very first moderators that we brought on board. He was one of the moderators at Mandrills and very active in spaces. He's also Australian as well, so it's actually great to sort of have having some Australians sort of in the team, because as Justin's US based, and Justin actually, the head mod, was the one who actually manned the booth with me at CNFT Con. So we flew him in, paid for his accommodation, because again, everything that we've tried to do is, we just want to try to support our team members and try and make the experience really, really unique. So Illicit has come in, and I think he's just done an absolutely incredible job. So he's come over from Mandrills, and same as Cake, they've come over from Mandrills. Both done such an awesome job. And then we've got Watsy, who was a fellow Boss Cat Rocket Club sort of early investor. That's someone that we've met obviously online, and was really sort of passionate about our project. But again, he's got a business degree, very smart person, very good at articulating sort of words, whatnot. So we want to bring him in. And same as with Dr. Mochi, he was someone that we sort of found within the journey. So we've got a pretty large moderation team. We had a very large moderation team from the get-go because I think that was such an important part of us really nailing the community piece.
Mm-hmm.
With our development team, again, we've got, head of Metaverse development, we've got 3D artists, we've got graphic designers. We obviously need to have voxel designers in place. We've got, designer and website development, content creators. There's a big, there's a lot of people that are actually behind the scenes. So, our moderation team is one part, which is all about community experience, but also you also need to have a pretty big back end team to just deploy these 3D assets, constantly designing the voxels and the real life sort of aspects. And also you need people that are constantly working on website development and also help creating content and building up the stories. So there's lots of stuff that these people are working on that you haven't seen because, again, the project, there's so many different aspects to it. People have already seen what they've seen so far, but we're constantly thinking about things that we're trying to do, what needs to happen in the next year from now. Where do we need to be in? Where do we need to be in 2 years from now? So there's constant sort of future work that's getting built and developed. So again, everyone in our team have got a lot of experience within sort of CNFT or within NFTs, and a lot of experience with working with projects at some sort of level. So pretty fortunate. I don't know if there's anything I've missed in there, Jed, with the team, but
no, there's actually a couple of people that we probably need to add onto that list now.
I'm just thinking, there's people that
we got Marvin.
Yeah, there's another two people that we've added.
We've got Marvin, who's also he's actually the one that's doing all the back end stuff for our internet cafe that we're building at the moment. So he's on there as well, and Anna as well, which is she's the running lead on our minting and all that kind of script sort of dev as well. So there's a couple of other people in the back end of that as well that we probably should actually add on there. We probably haven't updated it in the last while. So there's that too.
Things move quick.
They do.
They're all people quick. That one of those people come on about a week and a half ago, and the other person came on the same thing about 3 weeks ago. So space moves quick.
So this is a team that's basically expanding. As you have new needs and you have more people that you basically obviously are handpicking some of these. It sounds like, and some of these are kind of just maybe falling in your lap from the relationships that you make online and in these spaces, being part of Discords, like you said, all the observations that you kind of gather, when you're doing these things, and going from just a straight investor to a project developer is a whole different mindset. But I mean, that's fantastic. I'm familiar with a couple of the names that you shared here, and that sounds to me like, if you're going to have a big project with big plans, you have to have a big team, because 2 people aren't going to be able to do it. 3 people aren't going to be able to do all of these kinds of things, at least not to the degree of an expert level. So, having this extensive of a team is actually, it says a lot about the project that you're developing and your long-term goals. I love how you said, what are we going to do a year from now? What are we going to do 2 years from now? Your first year is going to be different than your second year, and so on and so forth. And so to have those plans all, laid out, and obviously this is probably a team that's going to continue to grow, in my opinion. Once you come to mint and your project's out there and you're doing what you're doing, you're going to have new needs. Yeah. And you're going to be able to fill those needs within probably your own Discord, even, because it becomes like a family. It becomes a place where, people say, hey, I can do this. Hey, I can't tell you how many contacts I've made simply from the Discord that I used to be a part of, back at Spacebugs. I've made, anything I need now at this point. I can reach out to a certain person, and that's what they do.
Wow.
And so, being able to grow that and have that, and like you said, taking your Discord and turning it into what you want the representation of, your internet cafe to be, says that there's a lot of forward thinking involved here. And again, just even more reasons for people to be excited, including myself. I always take the standpoint of somebody who is an investor in this space. And I want to invest in good projects. I want to invest in something that's got long legs and something that's bringing something to the CNFT space that's not just stamp, wash, and repeat. You know what I mean? There's a lot of that.
Yeah, definitely. Look, our team, including the 3 co-founders, our team is a team of 19 strong, including us 3. So we're almost about to crack that 20 mark of people hands-on working on this project and on almost a daily basis.
Yeah, look, that's no joke. That's a lot of moving pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I just want to go jump into the roadmap and see if there's anything that we haven't spoke about from the roadmap. So we talked about quick peeks. We've launched what our Keyboard Warriors Internet Cafe is going to look like. We've talked about some of the really cool collaborations. We haven't really mentioned this, but we've actually got a whole bunch of our Keyboard Warriors actually on walls in lots of different places. So we've had our artists and other artists going out there and painting our Keyboard Warriors PFPs in lots of different walls, which I thought was actually pretty cool. And you can obviously see lots of different pictures and images of that in our Discord and or on Twitter. We've got the Quickie Mart open. So the Quickie Mart opened with our very first limited edition That's No Moon sort of t-shirt. We went to CNFT Con, which was, again, like a massive sort of decision for us, flying in from Australia and obviously flying our team from the US into that to be able to work within that. I know we've talked about with how we showed people the sneak peeks on Bitmap, the quick coin utility, which we've got the Discord utility, Discord coins. The way that we see that evolving is not only is that going to be where you can buy your whitelist and also where you can actually go and get your upgrade, but also there's going to be a whole bunch of fun stuff we want to do with that coin. Just real fun utility, like nothing like too serious, but all these people have got these bunch of coins, and all these people are still quite excited about gambling, collecting them and whatnot. So we want to do a whole bunch of stuff, and we've announced one thing already with what we want to do with that, where we've got this idea. We're just sort of trying to work around the technology and how we're going to do it, but we want to be able to. The one thing we have announced is that with the coins that people are collecting, is that each month Jesrai is going to have sort of these one-of-one art which is outside of the initial 8,888 collection, and it will have its own sort of policy ID that we're going to be able to we're going to be able to give back to the community. And one of those bits of art will then go and with the quick coins you're accumulating, you'll be able to buy raffle tickets to win one of those one-of-one art pieces. So look, if we're just looking for fun sort of ways of creating a bit of utility with that initial collection, I'm going to let Jad talk about the non-custodial staking partners that we've already got live.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So we've got two non-custodial staking partners currently. So as soon as you get your Keyboard Warrior NFTs, you'll be able to straight away go onto Mad Dog Car Club's non-custodial staking platform and earn their MD token straight away. So that's one. And then the other one is we already have partnered up with Cardano Lands, and we've already allocated 250,000, actually 260,000 EXO tokens now to the project. We've been in the high leagues now for over a week, even though we haven't even minted. So as soon as we go to mint, you'll be awesome. Able to. That's just we've something extra that we've just done as a project, just so we can give back instantly to our community, just to say thank you for joining us on this journey. So they've got two different non-custodial staking platforms that they can utilize and earn their local tokens back straight away. As soon as we mint, you can do that. So that's ready to go.
If they choose to.
It's
if they want to.
Totally optional, obviously. Do your own research and all that kind of stuff. But it's just something extra that we've added just to say thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
Actually, I think that's kind of a big deal right now, because in the space you're starting to see a lot of that, and I think that's really been good for Cardano, having these non-staking custodial staking options, not just in-house but working with other projects. Like that shows the strength of what Cardano has. That's just one example to me that sets us apart from so many other NFT platforms. It's not like it's an idea, you can do it if you want. People are doing it, and they're doing it for a reason, and that's big, because now we're sharing ecosystems, we're sharing communities, and we're even though like there's a level of competition within the space, there's also a level of camaraderie that far outweighs the competition, and it's beautiful.
It's bringing everyone together,
right? It's such a beautiful
thing. That's the thing I actually really do love about Cardano, is that it's the whole of space almost has the same mentality that if Cardano succeeds, we all succeed, which is really good.
Exactly. Absolutely. For the most part, that's exactly what you're seeing. And that's what I'm always talking about here on my channel. I'm like, look, the healthier Cardano is, the healthier the ecosystem is for CNFTs and the healthier the projects are. So huge marks for that. So yeah, that's great. So you're telling me we're talking about all this other stuff and you're telling me but wait, there's more. We're talking about non-custodial staking already, and a project that hasn't even, minted yet. So it's like, come on. Oh,
yeah.
Man, this is exciting.
And look, I think like that's always what we wanted to do, is that we just wanted to be able to, just surprise people, right? Like just do the things that people aren't expecting.
Yeah. And look, we're always looking
100%.
We're always looking at multiple different ways to sort of bring any sort of utility back to the community, but also making sure that we do our own due diligence and our own research on said utilities. So yeah, we're always looking at different avenues
100%
to bring back. Yeah.
We're very protective of the brand. We definitely will not just do it with anyone, because the brand,
of course, yeah.
We see the brand being like like we see the idea around it, like it playing a big part in CNFT in the future. So it's going to be important for us to, definitely, and just making sure we're looking after like our people and looking after our community and our supporters.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mint OG collection, which obviously we're very excited about. It's 10 months for us in the running. So and look,
I just can't wait to get.
And we see this as like, same. I can't wait to get my NFTs. Look, we just see this as the start of something, right? Like, even though we know we've been working on it for 10 months, like minting your collection isn't the end goal, right? It's the start.
No, that's
the beginning.
It's the beginning. The doors finally open then. Yeah.
Yep.
We've got our visual roadmap, which we're super excited about releasing. We've been developing that for ages. It's starting to look pretty amazing. We've got our monthly giveaways and art utilities. So we're going to be doing monthly one-of-ones that are going to be hand-drawn by the artists, that are going to be as giveaways. So we've talked about like how it's going to look. We're looking about doing, there's going to be 3 one-of-ones, or it'll be the same one-of-one, but all in different colors. And there's going to be 3 different ways of you picking up that monthly sort of that giveaway. So one of them is going to be through the raffles we talked about. One of them is going to be, we're going to be doing a raffle for one of the people that picked up a keyboard warrior within that month. And then also we're going to be doing one to, the person that has maybe accumulated the most amount of keyboard warriors in that month as well. So we've got 3 different ways of giving back on a monthly basis. So the artist is very excited to doing that. He loves creating one-of-ones. As you can imagine, it's a hell of a lot easier than doing the
traits,
building traits,
layering and everything.
Yeah,
I would assume so. And the way I think, I'm like, well, I'm going to be in the competition, in the running for getting one of those one-of-ones. Let me tell you, because when I run hard, man. I'll just a little sneak peek there for you as how we do things right here in Ultimate CNFT. And you talked a little bit about some of your charity donations as well. I think that's fantastic that you're involved in that.
Awesome.
It's not just a token charity. It actually has meaning behind it. That's great.
For sure. We're going to release the quick story, which we've only really told everyone a very snippet of the internet trolls and the keyboard warriors and how they interact, but we're actually going to be able to unleash and talk about actually what's actually happening. So that will then come into play. We've got the beta internet cafe, which we already talked about, which is phase 1, which will probably end up getting done a little bit earlier than the other ones, to be fair. We then have our art exhibition and warrior parties. So we're going to do that in Q1 of 2023. So we're going to have a live event inside Jess Rye's gallery, which is going to be able to, come interact with our community. Again, it's going to be a great way of saying thank you to any of the supporters, and we'll film that, and we'll obviously have people to be able to go live with that, so anyone can jump in and experience that. Then we've got sneak peeks on the second drop, which is the one thing I can say, it is going to be very different to most second drops. Don't really want to say too much, but I expect the unexpected is probably what we're going to talk about here. The Quickie Mart fully opens, and talking about like how that's going to interact, and it's all going to be obviously all built into our website and whatnot. Then obviously the internet cafes, going to be the deployment part, which is be able to have multiple people interact. It's going to be able to build out to the way that we want it to do, and then we're going to roll out phase 2. So that's
This is all phase 1 here, fam. Wow, that's insane. We might have to have a whole nother interview.
Yeah. So look, we're very excited of what we've been able to showcase so far. Very excited about what's to come. Look, there's still a whole bunch of work that we're doing over the next 3 weeks. The next 3 weeks for us is going to be very full,
very full.
And then
Yeah.
the 3 or 4 weeks after Mint. But we're just looking forward to keep delivering on the roadmap.
I'll be honest with you guys. I think the rest of your lives are going to be pretty full at this point. Because this is not your run of the mill. Let's flip some JPEGs project. So best of luck with you guys, because I can see again. It takes a certain drive and a certain passion to take this kind of project and to bring it out and to make it. To make everything kind of work, because you have a lot of ideas that you're putting together here. You have the team behind you. You've obviously got the art. You've obviously got the drive. This is exciting to be able to showcase a project like this on my channel. Thank you guys for being here so much. It's funny because this is a little bit of a reflection of the first conversation we had, Daniel. We were on the phone for almost an hour.
Oh, no.
And it was like, I was like, well, it's been 58 minutes. Like, oh my goodness, where did my day go? And so here we are on an interview right now. We got an hour and 35 minutes into this. This is already a record breaker right here on Ultimate CNFT. And there's probably even so much more that's going on. There's a few things that I want to save. Like I said, I'm so excited about, this project after being able to interview you guys that I'm like ready to go and make the dedicated video on Ultimate CNFT like right away. I'm gonna hold off. I'm gonna make myself hold off because I know there's a few things that I want to gather together, before I make this video. But stay tuned for that as well, you guys. There will be a deep dive on this project. I would love to do an update as well. I think this is the kind of project that, is going to need a few updates along the road. It's like I told you in private, I'll tell you again in public, I like to form relationships with people. I love to, get to know founders and get to know communities and the trajectory of what they're taking and why they're taking, their project in a certain direction. And so, this is extremely in depth, you guys. Look, for the people who have made it this far into this video, you are true supporters of my channel. I appreciate it. Obviously, this is a very exciting project that we're uncovering here. And again, this is probably the reason why other people are starting to talk to me about keyboard warriors. I'm like, yes, I'm already there, guys. We just have to get these things out there to showcase to even more people, because there's a reason why, at this point, that I believe that your project is starting to grow at the rate that it is starting to grow. There's a lot of interaction from your founders and from your team behind the scenes. I love how you guys are shouting out the people who, really, it's like the coal that makes that engine run. It's very special to have the kind of teamwork that you guys have and the camaraderie you have with this project, combined with everybody being an expert in what they're at. It's like one big piece of the pie, and it all just kind of functions symbiotically. And that's how you end up with a project like Keyboard Warriors Internet Cafe. I would love for either one of you to take this chance to share anything, last words with the audience here. And again, the people who have made it this far are very dedicated. I appreciate that. I love you guys. Thank you for all your support on this channel. This has been a wonderful interview on Ultimate CNFT. I've been looking forward to this for a couple of weeks now. And we got a couple of very dedicated founders. Gentlemen, any parting words or any other information that you would like to share with the fam that's been watching this video?
Just want to say thank you to all the supporters and all the people that have really showed up, and all the people that are jumping on Twitter and giving us loads of props. Like, appreciate every single one of you. Like, it's as excited you are is the same level of excitement as we are, and we're just really grateful that we can actually play a part in the CNFT space and hopefully really build something super special and create some legacy and do things slightly different than most other projects. So yeah, we're just really appreciative of all the support. So thank you all.
Yeah, I think you took the words straight out of my mouth.
Fantastic.
Dan. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone. Like, honestly, it's been super humbling and super amazing. Just the overwhelming almost amount of support that we're starting to get now, and just the hundreds by hundreds of people flowing in every day and just really showing up.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's surreal, to be honest. Yeah, no, it's great. I just want to say thank you to everyone, and thank you for having us on your channel as well.
Yeah, appreciate you. Just it's
thank you
been
for
awesome
being here.
interview.
Yeah, you know what? This is, like I said, this is something I've been looking forward to for a long time. I've been fired up about your project for weeks. In fact, like I said earlier, since I first, heard you talk, Daniel, about this project, and I'm like, wow, it's like at this point, I feel pretty seasoned in this space, and I start to gravitate towards, things that it's almost like I can see something on another level. And that's pretty much what I'm seeing here. I'm like you. I'm very selective with what I do on this channel. And thank you guys for offering your time to come and be on UltimateCNFT and get my, loyal subscribers and followers a chance to know more about your project. Again, founder interviews are my favorite thing to do here because you really get to showcase, the depth of a project. And when people, take their time to come on this channel and share their project, I'm very honored by that. So thank both of you for being here. And hey, once again, if you guys have made it this far, you're true supporters. I appreciate it. All the links that you will ever need to this project and all the things for the artistry that we've talked about will be in the description box below. Please, like and subscribe if you have not done that yet. Join my Discord as well, where you'll find out more about everything that I do on UltimateCNFT, and leave some comments below. What I want to know from you guys, are you excited about this project? Why are you excited about this project? What did you learn about this project that maybe you didn't know from hearing this very in-depth founder interview? That's what I want to see from you guys. I will be interacting with you as soon as we get this uploaded on the channel. Thank you guys very much. Peace out and God bless.
See ya.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate.
Bye.